especially what's happening today and age. What is the future of Spokio with kind of the laws coming in place with concerns with data privacy? Do you guys foresee kind of remaining the same way, or do you guys preparing for change coming?
Yeah, I think the next phase of the data revolution is transparency and control.
Okay.
I don't think the next phase of data revolution is less data. I don't think that's going to happen, right? Just like, for example, in the early 1900s, when the cars first came out, the cities were some cities enacted laws banning cars on the street because it was scare horses. But
Mm.
obviously, we know what happened after that. So I think the trend of the data revolution is there will be more data, but the key thing is about control, access management, which includes privacy management, right? So we need to talk about what privacy, the definition of privacy is, because if you ask people, do you care about privacy? Everyone says yes. But then if you actually survey what is privacy, most people actually don't have a definition. And the definition of privacy is about the control over access of information. Some philosophers actually define it as control over levels of social interaction. Right? So I think that's the definition of privacy. And I think one of the things key takeaway is different people feels differently about privacy. And actually different information has different privacy levels as well, the different contexts. For example, I might share my social security number with my mom, but to a stranger, that probably doesn't probably doesn't fly, right? So it has a different contextual context and all that stuff. And I think the future of data revolution is that someone will build a system that allows us to automatically um, discover the best privacy settings for data sharing, right? So to make sure that people trust the data sharing that's happening so that they will share, so that actually will share more. So that's what I think the next phase of the data revolution will be.
What are your thoughts when it comes to this? Right, I think we lived through the spike in blockchain and the big fuzz. Do you foresee something like this being the answer?
I actually do think that the decentralization of identity and one of the concept is called self-sovereign identity. I actually do think that that's the future. If you look at laws such as CCPA or GDPR, they're trying to come with the idea that hey, users have ownership over their identity, right? Not a certain government, not a certain individual, and things like that. So I think that trend will continue to happen. And I think the decentralization, because right now our identity is actually owned by certain companies, right? But I do think the decentralization of the identity will happen.
Interesting. Okay, and what kind of future use do you see there? For what Spokio does and how you guys going to market, you found something very defined, but kind of moving forward and not with a romanticized version of it, but like more like a central and data driven aspect. What uses would you see with like blockchain or data, in the foreseeable future?
Yeah. So first of all, our mission is to make the world around us more transparent. So our first step is to um, help users understand what information is out there, right? Because if you don't actually know what's out there, how do you even control it? So I think our first step is just about transparency so that people can have a better understanding of what data is out there, how does the data comes about, like for example, the business transformations. I'm using technical term right now, but the business transformations of the different data. How do we actually determine which age information is correct for you? Those kind of things. I think we would like to make sure that our users understand how it works, right? It's not just what the information is, but also the how as well. So I think that's the first step that we're trying to solve. And I actually think down the road, if we have the luxury, right? Because at the end of the day, Spokeo is not 1,000 people company. So there's only certain things that we can do. But if we have the luxury to really solve the problem of identity, which ultimately is about who are we, right? What is the purpose? What is the purpose of life, and how do we even come to and understand, who we are and things like that? We have the luxury to really solve these problems. Then, I think I hope we can get there. But right now, we're just really focusing on, the data transparency and data empowerment.